What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and we're doing a special kind of late night lineup build and I guess exposure review for the Scottish Open. So what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a live, well, you'll see it recorded, but a live look at my lineup builds for the showdown, and also we'll take a look at my exposures for the classic slate stuff. And part of this is so that people who have stakes on Stake Kings can know who I have without having to look it up. And the other is just to get, again, kind of an insight of the way I'm using SaberSim to build for today's showdown slate. Okay, so first things first, we're playing 51 lineups total. We're having 50 lineups um, in the pitch and putt. That's the lottery, and then one in the bigger buy-in, the 30K Club Pro 333 buy-in. So we're going to use our custom projections for this. And again, whether you Saber Sims or whatever, the process is the same, but still want to go ahead and just show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to upload my custom projections. What I'm going to do for Showdown is I'm going to tell SaberSim to build my own field from my custom ownerships. And think that there's certain sports where, oops, we got to call it something. There's certain sports where I'm comfortable doing that, and certain sports where I am not. Usually, the sports that I'm comfortable doing it is sports that don't have a lot of inherent correlation, where it's a little more complicated to figure out who the field is going to play. Just because you have ownerships of individual players doesn't mean that you'll get the stacks right. For example, in baseball or hockey or even football, where other sports such as basketball, MMA, tennis, golf, I mean, there's not too much correlation involved, so it's not that difficult to, if you do have a good ownership projection, to have that translate to a good prediction for what the field is going to do. And I am sort of comfortable with my ownership projections for this particular slate. So what we've done is build kind of this field, and this is what the field looks like. This is not who we're necessarily going to have. This is who we think the field is going to play, and it kind of feels right. I mean, whatever that means. So what we're going to do then is we're going to put that as our representative field in this contest tab. So what that's going to do is it's going to, when it goes into simulation mode or contest simulation mode, it's going to use that field as the comparison. Okay, so the way you do that is just within here, you'll go, we're going to change pitch and putt from the field lineups being flagship MME to our own. And the question is do we do the same thing with high stakes? And the problem here is that I do believe that my ownership projections are particularly suited to the lottery and not really to high stakes. So we're going to use the SaberSim fields for high stakes. Okay. So now that's all set. And we already uploaded our ownership projections. And if you want, you can see where we're ahead or behind. Interestingly, again, our overall projections are just lower in general than SaberSim's, pretty much like all the way down the line. Just feels as though SaberSim just has a much more optimistic view of how these players are going to do than I do. Let's put it that way. So let's we have this all up here, and let's just build. We'll build. We need to build 20,000 lineups, honestly, but may as well. As long as we have the capability of doing that, may as well do that. And then what it's going to do in this new mode here is it's going to do two things. First, well, three things. It's going to first build, a 20,000 lineup set. Then what it's going to do is it's going to simulate the outcomes of those 20,000 lineups against the field that we created to represent what the field is going to do. So it's going to then put the best, 50 lineups sorted by ROI in um, in the particular contest that it's designed, that's best suited for them. So we do have two contests here. We have the Twirl Pro and we have the Club Pro and the Pitch and Putt. So the first thing it's going to do is put those in the right contests. But what it's also going to do is it's going to attempt to diversify them properly across this whole portfolio. Now, again, I only have two contests, so it's not as big of a deal. If I had multiple contests, it would make sure that I got diversified across the whole portfolio. But even still, I mean, it's still doing a good job of that. It's considering, for example, when it goes in the pitch and putt, how much exposure I have in the Club Pro. So let's go ahead and run this. We'll run the contest sims, and you see here we're using this portfolio plus this new diversity setting that SaberSim has added to basically smooth out your exposure somewhat. So if you use this setting, you're not going to be taking as big of a huge leverage stand as you might otherwise be taking. Um, that's at least the early returns from the analysis of this new program. But I'm comfortable with it. I believe the SaberSim dudes. I believe in my projections, my ownership projections, and SaberSim's tools in putting those projections to work. So let's see what we come up with here. It's almost done. We have one contest simulated. It seems to be stuck on the second one for some time. We'll give it a break here. Oh, so it's now all of a sudden now it has gone into diversifying lineups mode. You see it up here on the right. And now we should be good. So we will show you what the exposures are, and that would be 27% Fleetwood, 23% Xander, 21% Morikawa, 19% McIntyre, etc. So this is who our exposures are going to be. Now, what's interesting is you could also look at it by money. And when you do that, you have a good idea of who's going to be in the big buy-in, right? Like, for example, like Corey Connors, we only have him in 3% of lineups, but or 5% of lineups, but $373 worth, which indicates to me that these four at least, maybe all six of these are going to be in the big buy-in. Okay. So let's hit save all, and we'll download these, and we should be good to go. I guess what I should do is do another build. I mean, I'm up anyway. I'm up for a little bit. I'll do like one more. I'll do one more projection update, and then I will do one more set of classic slate stuff. So I'm just going to pause this for a minute. You'll see the difference in time or whatever, maybe on my computer. I'm going to rerun the projections. Then I'll be back probably at about, but you don't care what time it's going to be, but it'll take me a few minutes. And then I'll redo the classic slates live as well. Just hang on there for a second. I say that didn't take too long. So let's go through and we'll just redo the process and the build for the classic slate. And just to remind everybody who we have here or what we have. So like 153 lineups are playing 150 in the sand trap, one in the big buy-in, which this week is called the fairway fade, 600. One of the single entries, 550K for first one, 200K driver, and the par four. So one kind of lottery and three bigger buy-ins. So let's again, same process as before. Let's just do a new build. And Same process. So let's upload our projections. We'll take a look at them. Uh, there is one golfer that I think I'm taking. Uh, well, we'll see what happens, but I think I'm taking a pretty big stand on Chris Goddard up here, but we'll see. So let's do the same thing. We'll add the um, the custom ownership, and we're going to build our own field out of that. And we'll see what, and we're going to use that again, probably just for the sand trap. Again, I do have faith that my ownership projections are better than SaberSim's, but only lottery versus lottery. I mean, I really don't have any. I mean, I can't very well say that my lottery projections are ownership wise are better than the field lineups for the big buy-ins that they have, which are specifically tailored to the big buy-ins. So I'm going to have to rely on the SaberSim fields for that, for those. Let's just see. Again, I'd like to take a look and see what this looks like. So what we're presuming is this type of distribution here for the field in the sand trap, and we sort by exposure. Well, we'll show you in a second. One thing you'll note is some pretty high ownership on Robert McIntyre, and the other thing I'll notice is pretty low ownership on Harry Hall. I think he projects pretty decently, so we're gonna have to see what we end up getting here. But this is the field we're going to use, so let's go into contests. And we'll insert that into just again for the sand trap. The rest we're actually going to go back to the SaberSim defaults. That would be high stakes, MME. This one will be high stakes single entry. And this one we'll do high stakes MME for this one as well. So let's actually the par four, since you can only do 4 lineups, let's make that one high stakes single entry as well. So I guess this looks pretty good as far as our fields. And now, again, we've made all of our decisions. Decisions are made. One thing I would say is these projections look really low. I just got to check something. I'll be right back. Yeah, so interestingly, because of this feature that SaberSim provides, where you can see, if you upload custom projections, whether you are well over or well below, like SaberSim, I was able to catch that I was actually using for some players a mix of their classic slate projections and their showdown projections, which is why all these were too low, which is why all this was wrong. So fortunately, I was given that. I eyeballed that a little bit, so I did fix everything. And let's re-upload this. We will rerun the field, and we'll call it Sheets Final because that's got to be the last one I'm doing. Call it Sheets Final 4. And let's see, what the difference is and what the field is going to look like when we're using the correct projections. And quite honestly, I don't even think it's going to be that much of a difference because the error was made pretty much across all players. And for the most part, players' discrepancies in classic slate projections going to be at least commensurate with their discrepancy in showdown. Obviously, showdown, again, everything's a lot closer and more smushed. But I still think that the same guys are going to show up Yeah, so you'll see. I mean, the one difference is you are going to get again like a 21% ownership of McIntyre in the field exposures. And again, I guess it really doesn't make too much of a difference, right? Even though because I didn't change the ownership projections. The ownership projections weren't wrong, just the point projections. So I really didn't even need to do this. It's pretty funny. I needed to do this. I needed to change the projections, but I didn't need to redo the contest fields because the ownership projections were the same. But just because we did it, let's again go through the process. Let's finish building this field. Hey, you guys wanted to just know who I had? Well, you're getting the extra special bonus bonus coverage. You're really gonna have to earn it unless you go all the way to the end of the video, I guess. Okay, so same thing. Let's change though the sand trap from sheets 8888 to now sheets final four, we're calling it. Now we have the right projections in here, I hope. Well, we didn't even do that yet. Let's go. Let's re-put the projections back in. Okay. So now we're a little below Sabres, but not like every one of them like we were before. Okay, so with all that said, let's build the lineups and see who we end up with. And we're going to do the same process. We're just going to let it do its thing. We're going to, again, 3 steps. First, it's going to build 20,000 lineups. Then it's going to take those 20,000 lineups and simulate them against the various fields of the contest that we're playing. Allegedly putting the right lineups in the right contests, given what their projected ROI is against the field that we've created for it. And then, again, as part of this new process that SaberSim has developed, they're going to do another thing and take a portfolio view of everything, and it's going to consider in some of these contests what I've played in the other ones, so that I'm not overexposed to any one player. I guess best way to say it. So let's run the contest sims again, and we're going to sim this against the fadeaway, the par four, the driver, and remember these again are going to be fairway. These are the high stake stuff. We're going to use the SaberSim uh, fields for those contests. But for the lottery, we are going to use our field that we created. And let's just see what we come up with. And then we will do FanDuel, and then we will be out of here. So again, we are now into diversifying lineups mode. And then will become the big reveal who we end up actually playing. And again, all the decisions were pre-made for us. I mean, we pre-made them by doing the projections the way we did and the ownership way that we did. So let's save to all and let's see what the exposures are. So 28% McElroy, and as I was afraid, a full 28% of Chris Gotterup. I don't know what else to say. It's just kind of the stand that we're taking in big buy-ins and also in the lottery. We just happen to have a pretty big projection on him relative to the field. So that's just what's going to end up happening. So let's put these in. Then we will do the same thing with FanDuel. And you should be able to glean from that what the big buy-in stuff is. I mean, again, we can look at it and we sort by money exposure. It's going to be these, I guess, these five, these six, whatever. Probably going to be in the 600, some combination of these. Um, okay, let's do the same thing with FanDuel. We have done our projections already. And the same thing. Let's upload our lineups. I mean our projections. Again, I'm doing this custom projection set. You could use SaberSim, and if you use SaberSim, you don't have to do this thing where you create your own field. Call the sheets final, finite, whatever. Build 20,000 lineups to represent the field. And FanDuel, as you'll see, just because the way pricing works and everything like that, you almost always get stars and scrubs type builds. So I'll bet you that we have a whole bunch with actually both Scotty and Rory in it. But we will see. I mean, I imagine we'll get like 60% Scotty. His just win odds are just so big. And because of the pricing structure, you can get, 13K in pretty easily. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to get a lot more Scotty here than on DraftKings. Well, actually, the pricing discrepancy is sort of similar. So it looks as though the field, we're projecting 39% Scotty, 32% Rory. And check this out, only 9% McIntyre on FanDuel. That's very interesting. We were projecting 21% ownership on DraftKings. So again, we're just going to wait for this to finish a little bit. And look, all this got her up again, huh? Let's see what this exposure really looks like after it finishes processing. Again, this is definitely a longer video than I intended, but a lot of it was my fault. Okay, so yeah, so Scotty, McIlroy, Fleetwood, but very little got her up in the field. So again, I just have this feeling we're just going to get a bunch of it again. Sigh. All right, let's make our build here. And we're using Sheets Final. Build 20,000 lineups. So even with the portfolio diversification tool, we're still jamming, however you want to couch it. We're going to have a significant overweight position, I believe, on Chris Cotterup. And that's going to be our main, I believe, our main source of leverage. And that's not usually what you want to do. Like you don't usually want to go way overweight on like a $7,100 guy just because their volatility and their chance they don't make the cut is much bigger than that of taking a stand on a higher price guy. But c'est la vie. Wonder how much we're going to get of Goddard this time. Again, run contest sims, and now it's doing the same thing across these two contests across the Monster and the Eagle. It's building 20,000 lineups, and then it's simming them against the contest fields that we've created for it. Oh, did I forget to do it? No, I did it right. I put the correct contest fields in. I will be going to bed really shortly after this. Like by the time I mean, I might fall asleep literally in the middle of this simulation. I've been going all day, but for you guys, figured I would make this recording. And it helps me too. It helps me stay on my toes. If I don't want to say reporting to you guys, but if I'm being transparent about my whole process, it makes me more focused on the process and doing it correctly, rather than left to my own devices doing all kinds of stupid shit, which I'm also kind of live to do sometimes. I guess as we all are. So now we've run the simulations and now we're diversifying our lineups. And then finally, we're going to get to who we have. And we will have gone through who we have in the showdown and the classic slates. So it looks like exposure 63%, Scotty, but it's not done yet. It's still have to assign them in order here. Okay. Let's confirm. Now we diversify them. Well, it looks like there's a little bit of a glitch here in the diversification tool. Why don't we fix this? The monster, we'll just put in the monster. And this, we're going to just do this. We're going to re-diversify it. Look at us making all the correct changes here. So some of your content is not assigned a group. The eagle. Wait, oh, there it is. Hold on. So this will assign to the eagle. Re-diversify, boy, we better win. I mean, this has been very long. I figured I'd just bang this out before I go to bed. So we have save to all, and as you see, we have Scotty, then Rory, then Goddard. Again, Wallace shows up here more. And we're looking for money exposure. You could pretty well glean who's in the big buy-in here. These six. And it's once again going to be Chris Goddard, FTW. We'll put these in, and we should be good to go. That is going to do it. I hope you guys learned something aside from just who I have. And that is going to do it. We're going to upload these, and we are done. Good luck, everybody.